Well, my second favorite politician, Justin Amash, has been trying to fundraise the last couple of days, and it's really, really frustrating to me. Now, this isn't a complaint about him asking for money so much as frustration at the fact that when you give money to a politician or even through taxes to the government, you have absolutely no fucking clue what you're going to get. I've donated to Ron Paul, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times, usually relatively small amounts. And then a week ago, I gave Justin Amash $100. And I felt pretty good about myself. I really like Justin Amash. I like his message. He's very principled. I'm not 100% in agreement with him, but he's definitely a very principled guy. He's not like most other politicians, as best as you can determine without being able to read his mind. I mean, there's always the possibility, who knows, that Ron Paul is secretly an evil statist and this is some elaborate ploy, but we don't. Based on what we know, that does not seem very likely. This is the case with Justin Amash. And his last Facebook post basically said that the average congressman in a quarter will raise $76,000 from political action conferences, from PACs. And he raises about $7,000 from PACs. So he does get some PAC money, but it's not very much because his vote is very obviously not for sale. It's explicitly that way. He'll claim that. He says that. His voting record suggests that. And the money he's getting from the PACs suggests that's too. And I'm really frustrated because what happens if I give him $100? I don't even know what I'm going to get. I mean, he's talking about things that I want to have talked about. The money I give him doesn't really guarantee anything because he can lose his next election no matter how much money I give him. I mean, I don't know what the odds are. He has good chances, I think, just because he's an incumbent. But what exactly am I getting? It's totally different from when I buy stuff elsewhere. I spend way more money than $100 on all kinds of stuff on, say, Amazon, but I know what I'm getting. I'm getting a pair of boots, or a pair of loafers, or a CD, or some nice shirts, or some books, or gas for my car, or I'm going to go to the store after this and I'm going to buy food, and I know exactly what kind of food I'm going to buy. I know exactly, when I buy that food that I'll have those meals to eat for however long, and I know all these things, and yet if I give money to Justin Amash, I mean, it'll help. It will slightly increase the odds that he might win an election, but ultimately it doesn't guarantee that. And even if he does get the election, it's not like he gets to pass the legislation that I want. None of the legislation he wants to pass gets passed. None of the legislation Ron Paul wants to get passed gets passed. I mean, he had a phenomenal success when he got a whole bunch of co-sponsors on a bill that he had failed to get passed for 3 decades. But this isn't just about donations. It's all your tax money. When they take your tax money, what the hell are you getting for that? You don't even know. I mean, roads or school, but you don't even necessarily use those in any kind of proportion to how much you pay, and it's really kind of frustrating. Now I feel more frustrated. I should feel worse about the taxes because Justin Amash is not forcing me to donate to him. I guess maybe I'm just used to it by now. I've adjusted my life to an income that's been reduced to pay for the extravagance of the government. It's a little bit different with these people asking for money. It just, what do I get for that? I help them, but not very much. And help them what? Only help them stay in political office, which doesn't equate to anything. So it's very frustrating to me. And the only really way I can justify spending the money, I mean, I have the money I can afford to spend couple $100 here and there. But I don't get anything for it. It's not like if I spend $100 on Amazon, I know exactly what I'm going to get, or at the store. You know, what I'm getting is just peace of mind. It makes me feel good, and it's it's like the most quintessential economic thing where it's just a value for value. It makes me feel good to do it, but there is literally no material exchange at all, like literally none, which really fucks with the justification of it. Justification? Terrible joke, sorry. So, I've advocated Justin Amash a couple times in my videos. If you like Ron Paul, if you like Liberty, and you haven't checked him out, I would recommend it. If you have Facebook, go on Facebook and type Justin Amash. He has a page there. He posts every vote he does. You can comment on him. It's one of the only things, he's one of the only congressmen who you can readily actually interact with. I mean, you can call the offices of other congressmen. If you really want to meet one, eventually you can talk to some. Usually, the most powerful can, you know, just swat you away. But most of them, if you are persistent, you can talk to. Amash doesn't necessarily respond to everybody, but he does read the comments, and he does post sometimes. And so he is literally 100 times more accessible than any other congressman. And he is, I mean, some people think he's better than Ron Paul. And I don't know if I agree with that. He certainly has not had the impact because he just hasn't been around as long, and likely won't be around as long, because it looks like he's going to have a fight just to be there even one more term. And I have a strong suspicion that he'll get burned out on it, even if he were to get elected. I don't see him becoming cynical because he has too many people keeping his feet to the fire. There's too many people watching him, really. I mean, most of these politicians, 99.5% of the stuff they do is completely behind closed doors. That no one even, I mean, the votes, no, it's open, but nobody even pays attention. With someone like Ron Paul, or especially someone like Justin Amash, every vote that they cast, and damn near pretty much everything else, is heavily scrutinized. And so if he does anything even remotely unprincipled or antithetical to his principles, the people who support him know that and will say so, and they do. I mean, when he votes ways that people don't like, I tend to think it's based on principle. I might not agree with it, but it's just so frustrating to me that you give this money and what does it buy? I mean, all you really know is going to happen is you're going to get an email asking you to continue to support, or a phone call. I mean, I still get phone calls from Ron Paul for, you know, some telemarketer who's being subcontracted by the Paul campaign to call people who have given money to Paul. And it's not super horrible. It's not like all the time, but that's all you know you're going to get. That's it. And maybe they might scroll your name across the money bomb programs. You know, that's cool, but to you, to nobody else. But I guess that's all the reason you spent. So this is sort of a plea, if you are interested, to check out Justin Amash and maybe donate to him. Interesting guy. I mean, his father's a Palestinian, his mother's a Syrian. His father is like the quintessential Horatio Alger story. He was evicted from Palestine by the Israeli government, even though he's Christian, he's not Muslim, but he is a Palestinian. You know, lived in a concentration camp, came to the United States with nothing, ended up becoming a millionaire. At one point in the 70s, he went back to the Middle East, married a Syrian, and they had a whole bunch of kids. Well, at least three sons that I know about. There might be more, of which Justin Amash is one. And Amash and his brothers and sisters, if he has any, I don't know, basically grew up in high society in Grand Rapids. Grand Rapids is a city that most people in the country haven't really necessarily heard about, but it's the second largest city in Michigan. It's got about 500,000 people. The surrounding areas have another 500,000, and it's a very, very affluent, it's a very nice city if you go there. It's very clean, and there's lots and lots of millionaires and billionaires there. And it's very, very, very conservative and very religious. There's a lot of Dutch Reformed, and there's a lot of Dutch people. It's the largest population of Dutch people outside of Holland is in West Michigan, especially in Grand Rapids area, and also a couple towns called Holland, Zeeland, obviously. But that he's a scion of that. I mean, he went to like the best religious private school in Grand Rapids, and he's independently wealthy. I don't want to exaggerate and make it sound like he's just got so much money that he could never possibly feel a pinch, but it's my understanding that he's very much a millionaire, even himself, not counting his extended family's things. But he is pretty principled. He had this reputation even when he was in state. He was in the state Congress for one term, and he got a reputation. I mean, lobby groups would complain and bitch about him because he would not listen. He would vote against. He would be the only no vote, and he would actually campaign against basically subsidies. There are a lot of people are trying to get Michigan to be a film place where they make films, and of course the only way they can think to do that is to subsidize the film industry, directly with tax cuts or whatever. And Amash said, well, this is stupid. We should just cut all taxes to everybody, then we can subsidize all the industries. And that is never going to fly because the state wants all that revenue. And so since he won't agree to subsidize one industry or the other, they would always bitch about it. There's videos of their lobbyists giving speeches, and this guy just won't play ball, which he always took as a compliment. But what exactly do you get for it? Besides your peace of mind, nothing. I mean, and ultimately, I guess all transactions are like that, but it's really frustrating to me. And also, I'm not one of those people who says that you should never ever vote or anything like that, but it's times like this that really do make me consider the advocate a complete disengagement from government, because it just does not. Your effort gives you nothing. I mean, I can go here and I'm trying to get in shape, so I work out, so I bought a pair of these, and I bought some dumbbells, and like, when I buy them, and that's just an example, but like, I can use that shit, and I see results. I get like bigger, and I get healthier, and I get stronger, and then I can see that, well, these cost $50 online, and they've already paid for themselves many times, and I like wearing them, and they're comfortable, and like, the weights, they're fucking cheap as hell, and like, I know what I'm getting when I buy that stuff. But when you give money to the government or to a politician, you don't get anything. You can't even quantify what it is that you're getting out of it, ever. Even the PACs that are giving these money, I mean, what are they getting? He's going to vote yes on stuff that they like. For now, until they get a better subsidy from somebody else, or the leadership, tells them they got to vote some other way. So, yeah. But if you like the peace of mind, I mean, it can't hurt to give them money, I guess, if you've got it to spare. Most of us are trying to work on our own little gold parachutes, and it's just, it seems like any penny that we put towards that is a penny wasted. I mean, isn't it? Or is it not? I mean, I don't know. It made me feel good to donate to them the day that I did it, but then when I get asked again, and again, it's not me. Look, they need to ask. That's how it is, and it's not just politicians. All charities are like that. They have to ask. You can't begrudge them too much as long as they're not being told dicks about it. But what do you even get for it? So I don't think that's going to encourage many people to donate. But I don't know. That's just my frustration. All right, that's it.